Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday night stock analyzing session. Let's take a quick look at what's happened in the market since I last came on live on Tuesday. So a good 2 days has passed. And as we can see, nothing really happened last 2 days. Well, I would say it's nothing because it just whipsawed back and forth. Basically all the gains we saw on Wednesday just got taken out by today's market. So not really anywhere. Of course, if we're just looking at the daily chart, which this top chart right here is the daily chart, we can see that, 2 equal days. So basically we ended up flat for the most part. Wednesday being a big up day. I think it was like a 1% gain for the S&P 500. And then today just taking that out. We were to dive down into the hourly. Let's zoom into the hourly. So this is the hourly chart of SPY and what it's done. So this represent Wednesday, and this was Thursday today. So you can see all this gain that we gotten from Wednesday just got wiped out. But let's one thing to keep in mind is that this high was never challenged. So this high was first seen last Friday. So last Friday was when this all-time high was set, and we haven't even approached it. So well, this looks to me like it's just continued weakness. We can't take away from the takeaway from this is that I think we're still gonna head down from here. And if you guys joined me on Tuesday, I was talking about, I believe it's gonna come back and test this 400 level. And as it comes back and tests this 400 level, I'm still leaving this on the chart because it could take, if it goes straight down, it could just be 2 weeks or so. But as you guys can see, the market doesn't go straight down or straight up. It just kind of just meanders down and then meanders back up. But overall, the market's still in a bullish trend. So, this pullback is still really good for it. And it's really healthy for the market to, as it's going up, to dip back down, so new people can enter into it. And the longer it can do this, it's keeping this nice 45-degree angle climb. And you can see this was a little, this, if anything, I was sort of expecting this fall to be sooner, but a little overextension, and then when it does fall, it just corrects itself a little bit before it can go a little higher. We can see that last year was a year like anything, unlike anything we've seen before, and this year it's not gonna be exactly like last year. We're not gonna see that big of a gain. If anything, we're just gonna sort of level out and let uh, um, let new traders get into it. But last year, record number of people entering the market. The market was just climbing like crazy. Everything that had a price was going up. And so this year, I think we're gonna just see, if anything, we're just gonna slowly climb up. I'm thinking the highest we could probably go is like maybe 425, 430. But other than that, we're probably just gonna be sideways. Go into some consolidation before we go any higher. That's just my prediction of what's gonna happen. Now let's look at Tesla also, because Tesla's leading the EVs. And the EV's been hot. It's a market that you don't want to sleep on because, yes, if you missed it down in the 400 range, 300, 400 range, it doesn't mean you're missing out of it, because if it's going to run for the next 7 years, you still got 7, 8 years. You still got a lot of time to get in. It might not be as low as 400, 300, but you can still get in. And if you don't like EV, not EV, but if you don't like Tesla because it's too expensive, you have alternatives, but Tesla is leading them. So everything that you see is always going to just be following what Tesla is doing. There's going to be laggers, um, but Tesla is going to be the ones that's leading them. And you can see, I drew this range, and it definitely broke out of this range, but it's keeping above it. So this support level at 700 is still keeping, regardless of what Tesla has done in the last week or so. It's still keeping above 700, and that's a very good sign. You can see this lower lows, higher lows. I mean, so these higher lows that they're forming. So I think from there, it's just gonna keep going up. And Tesla last year, it was included into the S&P 500. So, um, if Tesla has a run, it's gonna be a good thing for the S&P. It's never a thing that's gonna hurt it. So I'm hoping that my prediction for SPY is wrong. That 430 and 425, 430 isn't the highest it can go this year. I mean, I always wanted to keep on going higher, but I also know that any pullback is a good thing, especially how high or how much SPY has run since last year without any real big pullback. So that's the case. So Tesla's doing well. It's holding that 700 level. It's very good. Um, I hope it continues to hold that 700 level and continue to make highs again. Last year was a great year for Tesla, and it after a big run like that, I would almost expect it to not have, or even if it does have another run, and not be as big of a run. I want it to slowly climb, or it goes into a period where they start, starts range bounding, and that way, it gives investors confidence that that stock is not a pump and dump. It's not going to just go away. That it's serious. And then once that happens, I wanted to range bound for a little bit, and then I wanted to climb again. Um, Now that's what I'm thinking could happen. But let's see what Tesla will want to do. And our job as traders or investors or retail investors and retail traders is just to notice this, because no matter how much money we have, in the millions, whatever, we can't beat the big hedge funders or the big funds or the big bankers, because those guys, they control the market. All we can do is just notice these little patterns and take them as they come. There's not much that we can do. So Tesla is a good one. Uh, has a lot of eyes on it. So the good thing that's going to keep Tesla going is, since there's so many people that's interested in it, so many big banks that are interested in it, they're going to continue to buy and hold their position, and that's going to cause Tesla to continue to increase as we go forward. So that's Tesla. Let's look at Apple too. And why we are looking at Tesla and Apple is because Apple makes up close to 6% in the S&P. So if Apple falls, most likely the S&P will fall. It makes such a big percentage of the S&P, and that's why we take a look at it. And Apple's been forming, it's in this range right here, between, we say 140 and 120. It's been in this range for a while. So this is the consolidation that I keep talking about, and that I hope that that Tesla does the same thing. After a big run, right? After a big run, it's just sort of range bound like this. And what that gives us a good chance to do is we can buy at the bottom of these ranges, especially if we're gonna invest in it for a while, a few years, a few months. We can buy at the bottom of these ranges, and eventually, those ranges are gonna get smaller and smaller. You can see with Apple, the first big dip here, this range, well, the bottom of this, at 102, It was never reached, but it kept going, you know, kept staying within this little range right here. And it's just like range bound. Right? And these ranges are getting lower and lower. And eventually, what's going to happen is if we look at something like this, after a range balance like this, after a while, it's going to just boom, skyrockets again. And so that's why you need to notice these patterns. When something like this happened, especially a stock that as big as Apple, something like this happened, it means this is time when you should be accumulating some shares, building your position up. And when you build up your position, you're building in hopes of this big play, right? Something like this happened. This was the COVID of last year, so nobody could have predicted that, but that was a golden opportunity. And if we go back even longer, this 3 years, we go back to even 10 years, right? If you notice after every big run, same thing happens. Big runs, levels out, right? And it just takes you noticing that. And when you start noticing that, and this doesn't just apply to stocks, you can apply it to anything that has a price, anything that has a hype. If that hype doesn't automatically die, like goes up, all of a sudden it just drops down to right where it begins again. Right? If it goes up and it can hold its price for a while, you should be getting in, right? And you shouldn't don't ask a question of how long until you make money. You should be asking, is this the right stock or is this the right, investment entity that I'm going to be jumping into? And if it can hold its price, eventually, it's going to come back again. People are going to hype it up again. And once that happens, you know, that's where the money is. You're getting in before the next hype, right? You notice the hype the first time, right? We could take an example of Bitcoin. Bitcoin had that huge run like 2 years ago, and then it came back down, sort of level off for a few months, and then it had another big hype. Right? Eventually, it's gonna level off again, and that's when that's when if you want to get in, get in. But something that has a hype the first time and it does it the second time, eventually it's gonna do it again. So best thing you can do is just to keep following things that have big hypes, things that can hold. So this Tesla, this AMD, AMD for sure has a hype. This was a stock that everybody used to love hyping, and you can see this one's leveling off too, right? Had a big old run. And this monthly had a big old run. It's leveling off. You can see on the weekly, right? The weekly has a big old run. It's leveling off. Same thing happened here. Big old run. It's leveling off. Eventually, it's gonna just level off. The lows, you're not gonna hit the as low anymore. Eventually, it's gonna climb, and boom, it just keep going. All right, let's take a look at this stock. So, this is energy, in phase energy. I like the look of this one. This one is also leveling off, so it had a huge run, and it seemed like it didn't really have that much traction until probably the beginning of 2019. So when I see something like this, this is something that I really like. That's a very good throw. I what I'm noticing on this stock is it's doing that sort of the same pattern that I was just talking about with Apple and AMD. It has a big run, it levels off. The lows don't get as low anymore, and then it levels out and it keeps going. For this one, I think it's gonna level up for a little bit more. But as you're looking at it, right, anything below or close to 140 is where you should be loading up. Um, but don't just take my word for it. Also, follow that, continue to follow the stock that it can hold there. It can hold 140. You can see it on the daily. So on the daily, we maximize the daily. You can see this lower low. So the lowest it got to was like around 130, 129.27. And then it hasn't really approached that anymore. And these lows are getting lower. Oh, not lower, but higher, which is really good because it's sort of building this pendant, right? And we wanted to break to the upside. So this is where, it was something that had a lot of hype before. A lot of people bought into it. The price had a run. You're just building for the next run. And if it keeps going lower, what you want to do is you want to start asking yourself, how big of a position am I going to be ready for, right? And if you're not completely sure that it's going to hold the support of 140, what you're going to do is every time it approaches 140 or as close to 140, maybe add on a portion of your maximum size, right? Say you want 100 shares. Every time it approaches 140, maybe what you should do is you can buy like maybe 20 shares at a time, you know and what that allows you to do is if it goes even further below 140, you can add another 20 shares, and eventually you're going to get to your maximum position, which is like 100 shares or whatever. And that way you get to take advantage of what is it averaging down. um but you only want to average down on stuff that has hype and uh that could potentially come back. And this stock, I really like it. It's shown that it has climbed. Yes, it's coming down right now, but it seems to be holding 140. Seems like nobody's just dumping it, right? They're not just getting rid of all the shares. People are actually interested in keeping these shares going into the future or to the years to come. Right? And so let's also see what this stock does. These ratings right here, to me, I don't really follow them because I don't know who side the analysts are on, but most of the time they're in for themselves. So I just look at this. They're in what sector they're in. They're in IT, right? They're IT. What do they do? The solar. They do semiconductors, um, electricity. So they do a lot of like IT stuff. So the IT is something that's popping. So continue to follow it, and really look at this 140 level. Let me draw it out for you. So this 140 level right here. Really look at this. So you got already 10K in. Well, hopefully that's not your maximum position, but you know, slowly get into it, and expect that it's gonna take some time. Uh, don't expect it to be like there within like the next like week or next month or something. It could take a while. You have to be patient with the market. The market doesn't run when you want it to. It runs when it wants to. You know, doesn't it doesn't take into account what you think is going to happen. So just notice it. Be patient. Know it, and also, no matter how good that stock is or looks to be, also have a backup plan, right? A plan of when you're gonna say, okay, this is it. It doesn't look like it's gonna go up anymore. It doesn't look like it's gonna continue going up. I'm gonna take my losses for the moment, and if it still looks good in the future, I'm gonna get back in. But if not, I'm gonna just take my loss and look at something else, right? Because what you could end up doing is you could be invested into the stock or any stock for a while, and it doesn't go anywhere, or it just continues going down. So you need to have a plan to get out too, no matter how good of a stock or how good it looks on the charts, right? So have a plan for that. For me, at least, if I'm getting in at like 140, and because I'm a pattern trader, I'm looking for these patterns. I'm noticing that it's holding 140. I would say, if it ever goes down, the last swing low is like 130. So if it ever goes down below, 125 or something, I'll probably consider cut. Not consider, but I'll probably cut my position. Take a small loss and then reinvest my money somewhere else that will grow. And uh, think about that and do something like that. Or if it's 10K to you and you don't really need the money right now, and you can just leave it in here and see what it does. You could do that too. But just know that you need to have a backup plan, because not everything in the market goes according to how we plan or according to how we envision it. Okay, so this is a good pick for the moment, but and it seems to be holding 140. Okay, so let's look at some other ones. Let's see what other positions that I am in. One position I think is pretty interesting is cat. Cat. Now, cat is a position that's been doing really good. Caterpillar's, big company that do like construction and like those, was it um, construction trucks and stuff. So this sector, the industrial, has been doing really really well because of the shortage of just basically materials and whatnot. It's causing them to do really good. Um, so price of everything is going up, and it's causing them to do really well. And you can see this pattern right here. They're following this pattern really well the last year. And so if you notice that, I drew this range out to as it gets close to here, this could be a buying opportunity. Until this doesn't hold anymore, then you say, hey, this pattern has been broken. But I think it might keep going with this. Of course, it's pretty high on the monthly, but that's something to keep in mind that it's been doing really well. It's leveling off, and industrials is doing really well. So there's also a shortage in like materials and whatnot. So I think it's gonna help them out. Cost of everything going up. All right. Another request. TMO. Let's look what TMO is. Thermo Fisher. Okay, Thermo Fisher looks good. Thermo Fisher Healthcare. They're a stock that's been uh, doing pretty well for a long time too. And it's very good that I think you came in a few weeks ago. And I think you said you're a new investor, which being a new investor, uh, for sure, play the big blue chips because they're easy to play, right? The big blue chips until you are comfortable making a speculative play, and then you can do that. But there's nothing wrong picking these big companies because they can survive even if they make a mistake. It's not going to take them out. Take for example Facebook. It's such a big company that they can make. They've been to court like what is it 5 6 times, and they're always on in the news having security issues, and they're still doing fine. It makes money. Investors don't go away from a stock that makes money. Right? So Thermo Fisher is a stock that makes money. It's expensive, but hey, it's not that risky to hold. It's something that you could just put your money into, and you know, eventually it's gonna uh, it's gonna continue to produce for you, and that's what we're looking for. And right now is a really good time to get into. You can see this range right here that it formed. This range right here seems to be keeping it. What I really like is that it just came back from its 200-day moving average, and it just keeps going up. So it's a really good pick, and I'm glad that it's doing well for you. Right? Continue to watch it and continue to play it. All right. So a stock that in the last 2 days has been making some noise is Skills. Skills. I think that's wrong. Oh, SKL. And this is a really new stock, a speculative play, but this is a high risk, high reward kind of play. And why do I say that? It's because you can see the last year, it was really explosive. It just IPO and it just keeps going. And but the good thing about it is it's approaching its start where it's lows again, right? And people are noticing that, and especially in the last week or so, it seems like it's slowed down, right? And when it slows down like this, this is where you're wanting to pick it up. It's close to $12 as possible, but anything in this range is still good because if it has another big run and the last 2 days, the volume has just been increasing on this stock. And if it has another run, we could say it could easily break this high of 46 again. So, we see something like this. It had hype at the beginning, then that hype died off. It sort of comes back to the bottom. stays there. It could stay here for the next few months, you know, and then if it has another hype, it could just break these highs again. If not, it may never return, but we'll see. So this is a stock and communication services sector, and what they do is they allow basically any app or any uh, a mobile game, any game to become like a multiplayer. And yeah, it has a leaderboard. So that kind of social aspect, yeah, especially gaming, that has a place in the future. And so I think there was also picked up, I don't remember if I read it correctly, but a news article of it being picked up by Kerry Woods or what. And that was what was causing it to run the last 2 days. That's some news. What's my thought on POW? POW is actually a stock that I'm actually in right now. So I have a few positions and it's holding. I'm just looking at this pattern and look at this. This head, shoulder, head and shoulders. Shoulders, the first shoulder, the first head, shoulder, and it's holding. It's definitely holding the $6 level, $7 level right here. And I won't be surprised if this thing keeps going. This is just a little slowdown and it's holding. It's not dumping. Lower lows here. Oh no, higher lows here. Higher lows. And I hope this can continues. Retest that $10 level. And this is and as I was saying, you know, we have a democratic presidency, and every democratic presidency, anything ammo related, gun related, they seem to do really well. Why? Because every time we have a democratic presidencies, that's when we get the most control related laws. And the one thing about Americans is you never mess with their guns. You never mess with their guns or their gun rights, because when you do, they start hoarding it because they don't ever want it to go down. And it's not just this stock, right? POW is a cheaper stock, but if you look at things like what is it? Um, dang it, I was just looking at that too. Gun related stocks. You know, they were doing really well, and let's see if we can pull some up. Um, I think yeah, and as I'm looking at this, I'm trying to look for that stock. Uh, what is it? The first article on Google is five gun related stocks to buy before the Biden presidency. So this is Smith from West, right? See, they're doing really well, leveling off. Had that big old hype leveling off. Ruger, the other stocks too. So yeah, I think that's doing good. So this person asked for MICT, MICT. I don't know what they do, but let's take a look at it. Information technology. Uh, okay, let's look at market cap. Doesn't really show market cap here. Revenue. The revenue is good, but the stock came out in 2014. They went down, sort of leveling off. They caught some traction last year, sort of leveling out. I'm saying if you're playing this stock right here, the stock at MICT, um, it seems to have leveled out around 144. So just continue looking at it. Holds 144. Um, with something like this, there's so many stocks that at this level that it's hard to know what's gonna what's gonna happen, and especially if it's in the the IT sector. There's so many good stocks in IT that it could be very hard for a penny stock to make it out. Even if they have revolutionary um, technology, what's probably going to end up happening is they get bought out by a big guy. Big guy being Google, Microsoft, um, Apple, and that is what spurs their move or their hype, right? That hypes it. So I don't know if this is what spurred it or so. Just be on the lookout to see if they're working off the big three. Uh, let's see. Okay. So this is an IO, an IO because this is a cheaper alternative to Tesla. These guys are Chinese, so be careful. I don't know if you guys are as to me, anything that's Chinese, it's hard to stick with them because they can mess up the numbers, and these guys haven't produced a vehicle yet. Or if they are, it's really low quantity. And then in China only. I don't think their EV vehicles are in the US yet. But they've been doing really well. They're following that EV hype. They seem to have leveled off on their falls. See, higher lows, sort of higher lows, but they've been holding 34. And if something that can hold, can have some support, eventually they'll take off again. So continue to monitor that if it can hold 34. And if it can, that could be a stock that you could get into. Um, you can get into, and eventually they'll have another run. So just continue to monitor it. It's another good EV player because a lot of people have their eyes on it. So if anything, take just follow it because people have been playing it. People have been following it. Right? It had a hype once. Anything that has a hype once will happen again. And you can see, they just IPO in 2019. So they had a little run. 2019, they died off, and then this huge run. So if this one can hold 34 for a while, then have another huge run. I want to see it take out this 66, 67 level and continue going forward. Busting through. Who knows? It could triple itself in another 2 years. It could be like Tesla. It keeps going, and it takes 12 years before it goes to 1,000. It could be good. And don't sleep on, even though the Chinese market is a little bit odd at the moment, don't sleep on it. They have a huge global economy. So don't sleep on it. Even if you don't like it, even if it doesn't make sense, you still follow it. You don't want to sleep on it. Okay. One of my plays that I really like is Microvision. See Microvision's holding. Today, the last 2 days, it had a run, but it's falling. It's sort of still in this range that I drew. Kicked down a little below it, but it's still holding it. So, and if anything, I hope this continues to go because it's in a stock that has explosion status, especially because this guy is being worked with. They're working with Microsoft. Microsoft is a pretty big entity. You don't want to sleep on Microsoft. And so, this movement was just a spur from rumors of working with Microsoft, and then more Microsoft related news. This right here was another a news that Microsoft is got that the contract with the U.S. Army around the AR, augmented reality. So just follow it. I think it's gonna just range bound for a while, but continue to follow it. It's gonna do this sort of thing where it's boring for a few months, 6 months or so, and then boom, you stepped on it and you missed it. Funny thing was like in 2019, I was playing this stock at $2, and to think that it was be $20, you know, should have just kept my shares. 700 shares at $2. So, and I decided when it first popped up to like almost $4, I was like, oh, okay, I got 100%. I don't think it's gonna go run anymore. I took it, and then 6 months later, boom, big old run. So yeah, really missed that, but it's still good. If it has the hype in it, it's keeping some support. It's people there's investors that's probably keeping their shares, and that's what's causing it to not completely collapse. So that's my thinking behind it. All right. Let's look at another one. Another pretty cheap stock that has potential. PlaySafe. And stocks like this, yes, you have to be careful with them. Don't want a huge position in it, but you also don't want to have no position in it because you know explosion stocks like this. I would say have the 80% of your portfolio in good stocks that good blue chips, large market caps that don't get so manipulated. And then your last 10 to 20% of your portfolio, maybe, invest in stuff that could have that explosive growth, could see, 100 or 200 plus percent per year. This is one of the stocks that, I'm taking a chance on. Play safe because, they're a payment processor. And what noticing a lot of uh, payment processors do is they're trying to incorporate crypto into it. And so, as they're starting to incorporate crypto, they're going to continue to have more service. That's a way of them evolving. That's where they're thinking the future is going to be. Having crypto and being able to process crypto. So, PlaySafe is another stock that is doing that. I think they're second in terms of payment processing. They're second to PayPal. PayPal is doing really well. We can even take a look at this. And you can see it level out on their for their fall. They're not falling as hard anymore. They're leveling out. What I'm going to be looking for in the future or the next few weeks is that it doesn't. This is the last swing low, right? That the new lows that it makes, it's going to be a higher low than this one. So no return to $12 or 12.20, right? I want it to be above 12.20. If possible, just keep above 13. Yep. And so that's PayPal also. PayPal, since see PayPal is doing well, and PayPal likes to go through these stages where they have runs, and then they sort of just level off. Runs and then level off, right? So if you were to sit through this, just a few months of it just doing nothing, right? A few months of it doing nothing, and then all of a sudden it pops, then it dies again. It never seems to be able to keep its gains, but it consistently goes up. So as awkward or as weird as that sound, that's what it's doing. It doesn't seem to be able to keep its gains, but it continues to go up year over year. If you have the patience to hold it, and it's a very good thing. PayPal consistently goes up over time. And so even if you're not a trader and you're more of an investor, very good long-term hold. I don't believe they have a dividend yet, but eventually when they're done growing, they're probably gonna move into that dividend state. Right? Start issuing a dividend. And there's not that many places to go anymore. Once you done growing, the only way to continue growing is to just give money away. All right. Um, let's take a look at J&J to see what's doing. So J&J, we saw it had a run on Tuesday, leveled out, and it's slowly creeping higher. Um, right now, it's being met with some resistance. It's resistance right here at 165. And if it fails, we could see it fall back down to 160, or 155. So a good pickup. J&J doing really well. Another stock. Park your money, walk away. So no explosion, just consistency. And so I know I talked about Union Pacific last time. Union Pacific had a fall, and let's see if it holds this daily pattern. This daily pattern where it's just slowly keeps going up. So if you can hold this daily pattern, it could be a good time to pick up. If it continues to fall another day or two, you know, good pickup would be around 210. You need to hold it. Year over year growth. ITW resistance again, being met with some resistance as it tries to test its all-time highs at 228. So, and it seems like it's gonna fall through. It's not gonna be able to break out above its all-time highs. It's probably gonna head lower before it builds up some strength to uh, to break that. V Visa tries to break all-time high. No, it's getting rejected again too. Same thing here. Drew this range out, so I think it's gonna come back down. So all trading is just noticing patterns. To me, at least, that's what it is. Noticing pattern and making some use of it. Now let's look at some see, yeah, everything that we do here. We There's always patterns, right? Always patterns. So even looking at Dogecoin, right? Hype. So this hype, first hype levels off, second hype. See if it levels off, if it can level off and doesn't completely end up gone. Maybe I have another run. This time maybe it gets closer to $1. Right? A lot of cryptos. Yeah. You can apply chart reading to anything that has a price. Even Bitcoin. You see everything that I talked about can be applied to Bitcoin as well. You see, all time. You see, that's 2 years ago when Bitcoin reached 1700, and it did the same thing I was talking about. Bitcoin reached its all-time highs, 2 years ago, 2018, at 17,000, came back down, level off around that, level off, little dip, and then the dip just finally stops, right? It doesn't reach as low anymore, and then it climbs again. And it continues climbing. So as this happens, eventually, it's not going to be able to keep this. People are going to get weak-handed. They're going to get out and just start noticing it, just start following it. This thing falls, I think it could fall eventually. It probably fall back down to the 20,000 level, 25,000 level. Then when it does fall back to that level, maybe get in. All pattern recognition. We are creatures of patterns. We're human. We look for patterns in everything, even clouds, you know, trees, even our pancakes. We see the faces of Jesus. So, just notice this pattern. 'Cause, if you sleep on it, you could probably miss out on another opportunity, right? Especially if it's like Bitcoin. The big three. If you guys are playing crypto, the big three is what you should be paying attention to: Bitcoin, uh, Ethereum, and then Litecoin. Anything else other than that, I probably wouldn't even consider. Um, I think Dodge is Dodge or doggy, doggy coin. That was just all hype. I don't know if the hype will continue. If it does, that'd be a great thing for it. That's all I do. Just look at patterns. Nothing, nothing serious. Just look at the patterns, notice it, and play it. You don't need to know too much. At the end, knowing too much could hurt you. So if you know too much, you don't know how to make use of it. If you don't know how to make use of it, what's the point of using it? Knowing what you know. If you can't make use of it, you can't use it to your benefit. What's the point of knowing, right? If you add a billion, a billion conflicting technical indicators onto this chart, how is it going to help you? Right? Most people just keep it consistent, moving averages or the MACD RSI. That's all you really need to know. You just look at the chart and it tells you, hey, this is what is happening, this is where it could go, and it's sort of leveling off. So that's all you really need to look at. Take a look at my watch list. This is my personal watch list and I keep adding stocks to it as I continue to build and hear about stocks people hyped up. People hype it up. I know that, hey, eventually the hype's gonna come back again, like something like Workhorse, right? People hyped it up and seems like everybody is getting out. Once everybody's done getting out, people who invested in it long term or they believe in it long term, they're gonna be left in, and then that's when they're gonna start pumping more money into the market. And when they start pumping more money into the market, you're gonna see things run again, and then another hype train comes, right? This thing goes even higher, and the people in the hype train, they jump off again, at the next stop, which could be higher than 42. And after they get off, the investors get in again, and it's the whole cycle again. It's just this cycle of investors get in at the bottom, they slowly build up that hype for everything, and then short-term traders, they continue to pump up prices going higher. And then when short-term traders or when investors are happy, they get off, and then the short-term traders, they jump off, and then more investors get in, and then that's why you see these inconsistencies in the market. That you see stocks that go up for a few months, then they kind of die off, and then they go up again. So it's if you look at the every stock that you look at or any chart that you look at, same thing, same same old story. There is no difference in it unless something big happens, like that company is going out of business. The original investors, they lost hope in it, then they all get out. And when you see a stock like that, that's when you see the death of a stock. And that's why we always have to trade with a backup plan. It's a nice low stock that I stumbled across. Adam seems to be holding on good. Let's see if this next hype is pretty good. It's keeping good pattern. IT development stage. Okay. Do semiconductors. Okay. So they're doing well. So this hype right here, the leveling off. It's it's pretty low right now, so good time to pick up. Let's just fell by a little bit more than half, but for a small company, that's not it's normal. It's not to fall in half like this. It's when if you're an investor and you're a speculative player. Good pickup. Good pickup. Baller Power System. I don't know what happened in the stock, but it seems to caught some traction again. Started 2013, hype up. This is the wave that I was talking about, right? Investors get in down here. They build up this hype train, then people start to get hype up for it. It reaches peak, levels off, everybody jumps off. Original people are still in it. And it keeps doing this. Right? So now that it has all this hype, it's gonna level off again, right? For the next hype. It's gonna keep on doing that forever and ever. Hopefully. We all would love that, be traders, maybe 10 years from now. Say, I got into this stock at $20. Kato's self-defense. I actually heard about the stock for a while. It's doing well. It's doing really well. She's something that I'm gonna put an alert on. I'm thinking about getting some shares of this one. Doing really well. Nice. I like stocks that move pretty stable like this. They don't have huge, crazy runs, but they're pretty stable. Self-defense, so they don't have that explosiveness. They have the consistency though. For the size, they have good. They have okay, not good, but they have okay premium. So that's the one way. Let's see. They don't have any dividends. Still pretty good. Good low cheap stock. Home. At home group. Still not sure where this one is gonna go. But noticing a lot of stores, the at home stores popping up. Hopefully they keep going. I know retail stores that seem to be having issues or problems. Not PNG Foods. See it leveled out. PNG Foods. Higher lows. Not higher lows. Yeah, high lows. High lows. Slowly higher lows. Started dumping in 2017. 2017 to 2020, and they're coming back up. So this could be the next. This could be the start of something new. All-time high is 52. So as it breaks 52, could be a pickup. Good pickup. You see, that's $20 from current price. So it's holding somewhere in the middle. It's not at its lows, but it's also definitely not at its highs. It's right in the middle. So it has potential to get it to its highs and make new highs. Who knows? We could see it run. This thing has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. So any due time now, for another few months before this thing runs. This thing truly runs. BGS. Definitely one that I will be keeping an eye on. Mirror. Oh, Marathon Digital Holding. This is a crypto play. Of course, it's not loading up. I think this is a crypto play. Thing still range bound. So you see 30 from 30 to around 45. It's gonna be range bound between there. For shoulder, you can see this is the head. Interesting. Interesting. HP. HP is moving again. Man. HP is going. Completely missed this one. Completely missed this move. You see that move started. I'm gonna say that it really started in November of last year. And it just kept going. Everything else was falling. HP just kept going. 19, $20. It went up. It went up $13 there. That's pretty good. It's almost it's 50 in the 50 percentile. And it's holding, so it's always good. Blink. The stock that had a hype got hyped up last year. Blink got hyped up. Hyped up once, level off, and then a hype, big old hype. And I think that's what's gonna happen here again. It's gonna level off for a few months. You can see from August to November. That's 3 months. We could stay in this for 3 months. So it's already been like one month of being in this range. So 3 or 4 months. That takes us to August again. Start of August. We see it go again. So anything below 30 will be a good add. Right. Next hype, take out that 60, 65 level. Take it out. Completely blow it off the roof. It's making higher lows. This is sort of level. Hopefully it makes another new higher low. Makes a new higher high would be nice too. But all right, that's the hour. Thank you everybody for joining me tonight. And I'm hoping you guys learn, just sharing how I analyze stocks. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in whenever I have these sections, and I'll try to answer. And of course, I'm not the only person who has a right answer, or I don't even know if I have the right answer. But that's just how I look at it, and I think I'm doing pretty okay. So I've been in the market for 8 years, and I haven't blown up yet, or I haven't given up yet. So must be doing something right. So hopefully you guys learn something. Let's grow together. Let's learn together. Let me know if you see anything. It's not just about me talking about stock, even though I'm the one living it. Feel free to come in here and tell me what you see. In the comments, tell me what you see. Tell me what to look at. Share some ideas. All right. With that, let's end it here. Everybody have a great night, and happy and successful trading to everybody. All right. Bye-bye.